One of the reason is that because our administration service is a general purpose service. It's not a specific service.
Definitely.
Right? You can be sent to any department, right? So since we talked about the syllabus now, the next step when the student gets passed is mostly the interview, right? So UPSC interview has so many myths. Like what kind of questions are going to be asked? Like people say you go to the third floor and they'll ask you what is the amount of stairs. This is one of the most famous question that is in the social media or in general discussion. So I want to ask you, like, first with that, it's not true, right?
This is nonsense.
Let's that get out of the way. So you mentioned a little bit of this answer of my question in the previous answer itself, but still I want to give a little bit time to this specific question. When these people go to the interview process, right? So most of their previous things are already checked up, their general knowledge and this kind of things. So what is the purpose of interview? Like what the panel who is sitting in front of them expect them to do? Like what is they expecting? Like the kind of questions they ask, right? What kind of qualities they want? One thing is that what kind of quality, and other is that what will help you to pass the interview.
See, when you reach the interview level, which is the third level after preliminary exams, means you reach to the interview level. At that level, you are directly interacting. I will use the word interacting, not facing. You are directly interacting with those people who are part of service, maybe for 3 to 4 decades, and they are very experts. They are belonging to different departments, maybe police, maybe administration, maybe customs, maybe revenue, and they are very good face readers. Clear? So how you behave, what you think, does you have the confidence or not? Are you making eye to eye contact? Then you have the confidence. If you are just looking at some place, such minute things they are trying to check, means they are trying to simply analyze your personality. Does you have confidence? First thing. Second thing, level of your knowledge. Usually, not usually, but almost in every case, these interviews are going to ask you about the current situations. Maybe there is some current problem related to our economy, maybe about society. So they are going to ask questions related to that. And while answering those questions, you should able to analyze the things, you should able to arrive to some neutral conclusion. So they will try to check whether you have that ability to analyze the present situations, present problems. This is second thing which they are trying to check. The third thing, usually this interview is related with your biodata. Means since your birth till today, what is your journey and what type of life you have experienced. Related to that, they are asking few questions. So overall, what your knowledge level, your thinking, your analytical ability, and your confidence, these things they try to check at the level of interview.
Like so that's like how much time does the interview on an average?
Usually, see, there are two things. If you go to interview and if you are coming back in just 10 to 15 minutes, then there are two possibilities. Whether you are a genius, so they are able to understand you in just 5 to 10 minutes and they are going to select you, or you are very worst, that's why they are sending back.
They don't want to waste their time.
Yes, exactly. Usually for average candidate, it differs. 30 minutes plus minus. So for some 20 minutes, for some 45 minutes, it depends.
Basically, those 30 minutes will decide whether your effort of 2 to 5 years, 2 to 3 years is worth it or not.
No, not as such, because if you have scored very good, excellent marks in your mains examination, clear, which is around 700 or 1800 marks. As the exam changes, numbers changes. And interview will contribute just 200 to 250 marks. Means in overall ranking, whatever score is there, in that role of interview is just 20%.
You can compensate in the...
Yes, yes. What happens if you are able to perform very well in your returns, in your mains, but if you are not able to perform in interviews, you may get selected, but your rank will be lower. And if you are able to perform in both, you will be a topper.
I worked in a software company for like 3 years and I used to take interviews. So many of my juniors used to ask me like, what should I prepare for the interview? So I used to always tell them, prepare for the answer, question whose answer you don't know. Like, what will you tell? Because what happens is that if I ask you a question and you already know the answer, most probably it's okay, like I know what I will judge you upon is that what was your response to a question whose answer that you didn't know, because that's what told to us by our seniors. Like, when you ask a question to a student who is preparing for the coming for the interview and he gives you a right answer, then it's not too much that you can judge him upon, but ask him something that he doesn't know and then see what he does, right? Whether he just give up or he tries to move his answer around trying to fool you, or just flat out says, okay, I don't know, right? So in UPSC interviews, because this is the question I ask to every student, like, you are sitting in an interview and they ask you something who you do not have any clue about, what should be your answer?
See, this is very important thing which usually students ask us when they are preparing for their interviews. See, there are going to be some questions whose answers you don't know. You are not a supercomputer, so that you should able to answer everything. Honesty matters over here. If you are conducting my interview and suppose I don't know answer of a particular question, I should not even think to fool you by giving some stupid answer. I should honestly accept that, sorry sir, I don't know this answer, but surely I will try to collect information about this. This should be the best answer. And you won't believe, one of my senior was there when he appeared for this civil services exam interview. Ma'am, there were 5 members in the panel. All those asked him one question, and for all those 5 questions he was not able to answer. Now just imagine, if you would have been at his place, then the stress, nervousness would have reflected on your face. But his situation was exactly opposite. He was very much confident and bit smiling. He answered to all of them, sorry sir, I don't know, but I will try to collect the information. Now in such situation his confidence level matters a lot. When they asked him 6th and 7th question, he was able to answer very well. And after 7th question, his interview was over. When he came back, he almost assumed that I have lost this attempt. But when his marks were observed, then it was found that he was able to score very good marks in the interview. So over here, it doesn't matter whether you have knowledge or you don't have knowledge. What mattered? How you face that situation. If you are an officer, you don't know at what time you will face critical situation. So in such situation, you should not lose your courage, you should not lose your confidence. Be firm at your place, be honest at your place, and face the situation. So in that particular example of interview, what they checked, his confidence level, not the knowledge. Clear? The deciding factor was how he faced the first 5 questions. What he answered in last 2 questions, that was bit secondary. So this thing is important for these interviews.
Will be questions whose answer you don't know, and most of the time we used to do that. We used to purposefully ask him something that he was not supposed to know, but still used to ask him.
That is normal tendency of every person who is conducting interview.
Just to rattle him a bit, just to check him. So like,
But when UPSC panel is asking such type of question, their objective is to check whether he is losing his confidence or not. It is not to harass him.